our website hit record traffic last night, and my Twitter space had the most I've ever had on one. So I would say there's a little bit of, I guess, intrigue in what's going to happen in the UK world. It's been a long weekend. I'll go over everything in a second, but what are your thoughts now, 3 days after the loss to Oakland? By the way, ESPN First Take thing is the current NCAA tournament selection model flawed? Like, all the favorites made it. Yeah. They clearly did a really good job with it. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, right. We have all the ones, all the twos, and only 2 3 seeds missing, so I did a pretty good job. Unfortunately, we're one of those 3 seeds. It is crazy and not surprising how the fan base is on every app, listening to everything. It's all anyone wants to talk about. All my text messages are John Calipari. As you know, just trying to watch the Sweet 16, you got random people yelling at you. What's happening? It's all anyone talks about around this town, and 99% of it seems to be on one side.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Do you think it is primarily negative for Cal?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I obviously don't know everyone in Big Blue Nation, but from my seat in this nation and where I've been, I haven't found a person yet that wants him back, and I mean that. I mean, strangers here at KS Bar, strangers at the Sweet 16. Now, those people are going to be a lot more vocal because they're negative, and the ones that want him are going to be a little more quiet. But I'm just saying, from what I've seen since the game ended, it is all negative.
I've actually not had one so just so you know, Drew and I were at the Sweet 16 Saturday day and night. I came by the bar Saturday day. I was around town a little bit yesterday. Now, granted, negative people will come up and talk to you more about it. And, I think maybe because of what I said, people think I'm more on their side on it, so maybe that's what it is. I've not had one person come up to me and say, I hope we keep him. Now, there's some of that online, some. Shannon, what about you? I mean, I didn't get to hear the pre-show. Yeah. Do you hear a lot of support?
Not much. Maybe 1 or 2, but not a whole lot. Most people are kind of on the same line of thinking as what you guys are saying. He needs to go. It's time to split ways. We haven't been a part of or I guess you guys have. I haven't been a part of KSR since a coaching change.
No,
so
the radio. We have never had a basketball coaching change since the radio show. And our football change was in the first year, Shannon, before I think you were even on it, right?
So this is extremely interesting to me to see how all of this is going to play out. And I think that's the big reason why everybody's listening to the shows.
And also remember the women's basketball thing is going.
Right.
I mean, the guy that I think is the favorite, Kenny Brooks at Virginia Tech, just lost last night. So, I mean, Mitch has one coaching search he has to do. And maybe, depending on what happens today, another. So let me catch everybody up in case you weren't online. So here's where it is today. John Calipari flew back with the team on Thursday, but then immediately flew to New Jersey and has been there since. He is flying back to Kentucky today and will meet with Mitch face-to-face. From what I understand, they have not met. I'm not sure if they've talked, but they have not met since then. I think the decision, whatever it is, will be made tonight. Whether it's announced tonight or announced tomorrow, I think remains to be seen. But it will be made tonight. It may already be made, but both sides will know tonight. And it's the nature of things. I would think it would leak out soon after. I think right now the amount of people that really know what's going to happen might be 2 or 3. And I don't believe any of the leaks that people say because I don't think those people are talking. But here's what – and I said this last night on Twitter. What I can say confidently is that one of 2 things is going to happen. He's either going to be replaced or if he's brought back, he's going to be told, you all don't get to operate on an island anymore and do your own thing. You're going to be treated like the rest of the sports. You don't get to do whatever you want, etc. I said I leaned slightly, and I mean slightly, like 52-48, that he could be gone because I think there's a 40% chance Mitch just is ready to move on. But then I think there's a greater than 10% chance that Cal hears all that and says, I ain't doing all that. And that leads me to be over 50 that he's not the coach here next year. What about you?
I can agree with that. I think what you just said, I have a hard time believing John Calipari is just all of a sudden going to be listening to Mitch Barnhart. Even if Mitch lays that on the table, I mean, he's been here 15 seasons now.
He hasn't
listened to a peep. And we know man's a little stubborn, likes doing it his way. I just find a hard time believing that he would agree to I'm now under Mitch Barnhart. Now, if that's what Mitch puts out there, we'll see what happens. But that's a scenario I can't really see happening. I think Cal would walk away before he would come back and do it Mitch's way.
Well, I think Mitch will say to him, first of all, you have to make a couple of staff changes. I don't think fans realize that there are at least 2 staff members that, how would you put it?
Stealing money. I'll put it that way. I don't care. Stealing money is what is happening.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And the administration knows that, has been frustrated by it, and I don't think there's any way they allow those 2 to return.
I guess to not be literal, they're not actually taking money away. Just what they're paid, I don't believe they're doing what they're paid for to the best of the ability.
I think then there's a lot of frustration with the way money is spent, and there's a lot of frustration with, well, let me put it like this. Seth Greenberg is on TV. Seth Greenberg is Cal's very good friend. And he was on ESPN radio on a show. I just heard the audio this morning. And he said, Cal is my friend, and he knows I feel like this. But this is Seth's quote. He's not the same Cal. He doesn't live college basketball like he once did, and it's catching up to him. Basically saying he doesn't quite work as hard. And he said, this is Seth that said it. Seth, who is his friend, said, I can't believe he said after the game that they played zone and that they weren't ready. He knew they played zone.
Everyone on Twitter was talking about the zone. Just casual fans talking about zone.
He said, how could he not? He had a week to get ready. That's Seth saying that. Seth, who at one point stopped talking to me because I criticized Cal. So, everybody knows that. And I think all of that has led to a frustration that reaches a boiling point tonight.
Well, we had the Kyle Tucker story last fall that I think upset a lot of people. I don't think there was a lie in that, and a lot of that was about work ethic.
And Kyle took a ton of criticism, and I took criticism, and everything in that article was true. Everything. And all the people that came at Kyle, and I've had my things with Kyle over the years, but Kyle and I get along now. But all of you that came after him, you really ought to sit and look about, do you actually want to know what's happening, or do you just want to be told what's something positive? Everything Kyle wrote was right. Those quote-unquote disgruntled staffers, they're disgruntled for a reason. And those are all people that really like Cal. Still to this day.
Wanting to help.
They were trying to help. There was a thought, I know this, there was a thought, if we get this out there, Cal will see it and it'll motivate him and that things will change. But go ahead.
I know someone about 2 years ago told Cal, you're letting people around you and work ethic kind of hurt your legacy a little bit. I'm just, as your friend, let's wake up a little bit, because things that are being said about you, that's not the real John Calipari, and you don't want that to be the last memory at Kentucky or maybe your career. Kind of tighten up everything around the offices, and that was before we even got to this point. So I think, Cal's a great coach. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. We still love Kyle. I think work ethic and staff are a big part of why we're here.
I think that's part. I do. But Seth himself, I hate to keep bringing up Seth.
That's what I'm agreeing with.
But this is Seth that said this. Seth said Cal's not the same. And he's not. He hasn't been for 3 years. He's just not. He's still a good man. He's still a good coach. But he has not been the same.
Since the lifetime contract.
That's your take on it.
That's my take. That's my take.
And I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's been your take for a long time. My take is something changed around COVID, and I don't know what it was. But, for all the KSR's just mad at him because they got cut out, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed at how and listen, people who know him and love him a lot more than me have had these opinions. This has been a long time coming. Something changed. Shannon thinks it's the lifetime contract. I think around COVID. But around that time, something changed with him. And it hasn't been the same. And it's not a coincidence that it manifests itself in these games.
I remember the exact moment we were sitting at the Omni last year before the SEC tournament started, and I brought up
Calipari. We were just asking people, stay or go.
Easy, leave. Get him out of my city. This is too much. Even if the next coach is, even if we have to do a full roster rebuild, I just think it's not a good relationship. I think we just need a change.